standing on what was once the most powerful empire in the Americas. We're in Centro Histórico, Mexico City, which was once the empire capital of the Mexica. Now, it looks very different today, but we're going to explore all of the history of it, some delicious food, and also beautiful parks just like this. And it's Monday, which means no museums are open, but that doesn't matter because in Mexico City, the history is in the streets. I think starting somewhere calm in Mexico City is key. You can get here taking the Bellas Artes subway line. It only costs 5 pesos if you have a card. Very easy, but be aware, during rush hour, it's super crowded. And as always, just keep an eye on your stuff. Nothing in your back pockets. Keep everything inside a jacket. Speaking of jackets, you kind of need one in November. It can be really hot if you're in the sun, really cold if you're in the shade like I am right now. But the sun is coming out. It looks like it's going to be a nice sunny day. So I think I'm going to have to get out my sunglasses. Just be prepared. Sun is out. First thing I wanted to show Alan was Bellas Artes, and I thought it was closed because there's this big blue barrier around it, which I don't know why, but there's a lot of graffiti, so I assume it's been here for a while. I thought it was closed, but then I saw this sign, which means we can enter, but it looks like it's just closed off to public access. Okay, so this was actually pretty easy to get in, but it's 10 a.m. and I think they might have just opened the doors because a lot of people are coming in now, but I would suggest coming early. I don't know why they have these blue walls up, if it's for security purposes or restoration or what, but I'll see if I can find some drone footage of what it looks like without the walls because the courtyard, the entrance, just makes it look so spectacular, and that's what I remember from the last time I was here. But we're inside, so let's check things out. I'm pretty sure you cannot actually go inside unless you're on a formal tour or a private event, but the outside is still just beautiful. So Palacio de Bellas Artes was built in 1934, and it was part of the president's dream to build something that was deserving of Mexican culture and heritage. And so you'll see Art Deco design. It's so beautiful, and then lots of Italian marble. Today, it's still a working theater, and it houses opera, theater, dance, and it's open to the public. I see people walking inside. I thought you couldn't go in unless it was on a tour or a special event, but I'm gonna go see if I can get in. Just went in. It's $95 to enter. We have so much to do today. I think we're gonna pass, maybe come back on another day because there are lots we want to see, and it looks like you could spend a lot of time there. Now, you can get in free on Sundays, both foreigners and nationals. And I asked the security guys, what's with the blue walls? And they said there have been a lot of protests lately. People have the right to protest, but they just want to make sure it doesn't get out of hand, so they're protecting some of the important buildings in the city. We didn't go in, but up there is actually a place where you can get a great view of this. In 2018 when I came, it was a secret, or was not well known, but I have a feeling everybody knows about it thanks to social media. I guess we'll find out. So that cafe is beautiful, but definitely, I don't think worth a line unless you really want to see Bellas Artes from the top. I've already been there, so, and Alan didn't mind moving on. So we moved on to a cafe in the neighborhood that is the next neighborhood I want to visit, actually, which is Barrio Chino, or Chinatown. Now, Chinese immigrants started coming here in the 1900s, but since then, Barrio Chino, not a lot of Chinese. I don't think any really live here. They've moved on into bigger homes, different neighborhoods, but the neighborhood still stays the same. So it's like 2 blocks by 1 block. I have not been here yet, but in one of the little alleyways, we found this coffee shop. It's called La Illusion, The Illusion. And other than one neighbor who's playing lots of music, trying to get people to come in, it's so quiet here and it's very cool. So if you're like feeling overwhelmed by the crowds in Mexico City, I highly recommend this. Good coffee. Alan got an iced latte, but we made a very funny translation error. And I knew this, so I don't know why I said this, but for sweets, they have cookies and they have pancake. Pancakes in Mexico are usually called hot cakes. Pancake in Spanish in Mexico is actually banana bread. So it ended up working out because we are in Chinatown, and I think there are a couple things that we want to try before we move on to the Mexican food. Alan is eyeing the first spot we passed, which has Korean ramen. So basically, you pick out what one you want, and he will add the hot water. And they've got all of the condiments for it. And they've also got some lumpia. And do you want a massage? Do you want a massage?
Of course I want.
Hola, ¿cuánto cuesta por un masaje?
En el medio cuerpo, señorita, 150. De cuello a rodillas, 250.
Come here. In Asia, we are so used to having massages, and here it's a lot more expensive in Mexico. So when I saw this, I thought, okay, we should treat Alan to a massage in Chinatown, which, to be honest, actually looks more like a K-town. It seems like a lot of the things around here are Korean, but I do see these bao buns that are very colorful, so I might check that out while Alan has massage. Although I have to be honest, we've never really had a massage out in public like this, but like, why not? $150 is actually a really good price. So it's $150 for upper body for 25 minutes, or $250 to do whole body for 40 minutes. That's a pretty good deal. And this woman really looks like she knows what she's doing. I am guessing that you don't want to see a full video of Alan getting a 25-minute massage, and I'm actually kind of hungry, and I want to check out these stores because I did see the Korean noodles, but this is Chinatown, so I'm expecting a little bit of everything. So let's go check out some of the stores here. Okay, they have Chinese buffet. To be honest, we have eaten a lot of Chinese food or gone to Chinese restaurants in Mexico because sometimes it's just nice to have something different. Alan craves rice, he craves noodles, so every once in a while it's like he needs that. And then in here, oh, it looks like a mini zoo. Now, the stores here are very interesting, and after spending the last 3 years in Asia, I will say this: if you've been told, like I was growing up, that never to buy anything from China because it's cheap and it's low quality, that is a lie. Well, 50% of it is true, and that is things in China are much cheaper, but now they are so much higher quality, and China is living a life that no one in North America knows about because we would cry if we knew. They get things that we spend hundreds of dollars for much, much less. And so now if you go into a dollar store, things, yes, are cheap, but they're also good quality now. So it's really, really interesting to see like all these Stanley cups and all of the clothing and everything. It's all made in China. It's sold there for like 1/10 of the price, and then we spend a couple hundreds, maybe a couple thousands on this stuff. She actually ended the massage with a back crack, which Alan said was amazing. But he said to her he has 200 instead of 150 and wondered if she could just do a little bit of work on his head for that. No problem. To be honest, I've always wondered if these street people are good, but he said this is an amazing massage. He can't believe that it's on the street. How was it?
I feel wake up again.
Yeah?
And all the like black cloud in my shoulder
Yeah.
is gone away.
Do you feel like she's a good massage therapist?
Yes.
Are you surprised that she was on the street?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She do like us, the Asian style.
Oh, that's cool. So she's here every day from 11 a.m. onward, except Tuesdays. And just be aware, you can do an upper one, but she's going to ask you to take your shirt off. So I think there was a woman before Alan, and the woman had just worn kind of like a loose shirt and no bra. Anyway, I would love to do it, but I've got a dress on and I'm not taking that off. All right, finally got pan al vapor, which means basically steamed bread, but it's a bao bun. They do it with really interesting flavors here in Mexico, though. There are a lot of like traditional, colorful desserts and candies that people would remember, along with a few of the traditional Asian flavors. But this one is mango and cheese. Ooh, it actually has mango in the middle, which is pretty cool. Oh my goodness, there's lots of mango in this. It actually looks fantastic. Like real mango flavor, nice, warm, fluffy. This is good. I don't taste the cheese. I thought it would be like a salty cheese, but still really good. Definitely worth trying for 20 pesos. Alan got ramen frito.
Yeah, it's very crispy, like chips. It's good. I like for a snack in the afternoon.
I gotta be honest, that fried ramen did not look like much of anything, but with a little bit of sriracha on it, it tastes fantastic. And as we're standing here, Alan just pointed something out, that he does think people here are Chinese because he just saw this on the plants, the incense. So this is definitely someone Chinese who runs this, or Chinese descent. Okay, this is a cute spot. It definitely is a mix of like Mexican, I'm gonna just say Asian as a whole, because there are a lot of different types of food here, but worth it. And maybe it's not the deep history of Mexico City, but Chinatown does belong in the history of Mexico City. Now, if you want to know where everybody lives, apparently there is a secret Chinatown where the Chinese population lives. We have not been there. We don't have time on this visit, but I'm definitely going to check it out next time. In Mexico, especially in Mexico City, people eat comida, which translates to food, but it actually means lunch between 2 and 4. It's the biggest meal of the day. We got here early, it's not even 12 o'clock, and that's because I wanted a spot at what is known as one of the most popular local taquerias, and it is Los Arandas. Now, this place has been around for a long time, and it is so popular that the plancha keeps going. It starts at 7 a.m. and it doesn't close until 4 a.m. I guess it's just time to clean and then get going again. This place is nonstop, and that's why people love it, because it's next to the Zocalo. And if you want late night eats, this is one of the best. Now, the 3 most popular tacos are probably al pastor, suadero, and bistec. They also have pozole here for some reason at all. You don't really feel like tacos, but like, come on. I definitely got tacos here, and I opted for suadero. Suadero is the part of the cow between the belly and the leg. It's often first slow cooked until tender, sometimes in lard, and then it's crispy. Now, I got the deal. I think it's 3 tacos for $39. I think I ordered that correctly. Double stacked tacos. They make them from scratch. They make the salsa, and they have warned me that depending on how spicy I like things, this could be really spicy for me. I'm gonna go in with this one. I think it's like at the medium heat. I'm gonna put a little bit of lime on that. It already has cilantro, onion, and it's tender, but still chewy, which is actually really good. It's not like overcooked so much that it just falls apart. They give you tons on these tacos. These are like medium or large size tacos, and the tacos are super soft. No, I don't think it needs salt, but I feel like I always see Mexicans adding salt, and if they're doing it, it's probably a good thing.
What? That's good flavor.
Okay, salt is a good thing. It really brings out the flavor. Wow. That was a great lunch. They have all types of meat there. Alan decided he's going to wait. He's still feeling a little bit full. But our server there was so nice. Young guy, he said he's from Mexico City State, but not from the city. His first language is actually Nahuatl. I think I'm pronouncing that wrong. His second language is Spanish, and he's now learning English. Just like a hard worker, but all the guys there at the restaurant were super nice. They're like, shoot video if you want, do this if you want, sit wherever you want. It's always easier to do that when a place isn't busy, but I think there are a lot of really great places that you can have tacos in Mexico City, and so it really comes down to the service, and our server, just fantastic. Now, one of the things I want to talk about as we walk down these streets and we are enjoying being here, eating great food, you know, doing all of these things, the poverty and the people who are struggling here it's very apparent in the core. So in the other neighborhoods, if you go to Roma, La Condesa, you see people, but here it's a little bit more concentrated and it is hard to watch, hard to see. So many people struggling when you are enjoying. And so, you know, there are a lot of protests going on right now for many different reasons. But, you know, there is a reason why. A lot of big cities have this problem, and Mexico City is the same. But it's just really sad to see people who've come in from rural areas into the city looking for work and just doing whatever they can on the street. And yeah, it's just one of those things traveling. I feel like if I don't say it, I'm just overlooking what is a problem here. I'm not going to show people because, you know, I want to give them their dignity, but I do want to say, you know, that is a part of Centro Histórico as well. We are now on Avenida Madero, and it is actually one of the busiest pedestrian streets in the world, and it's also very important in history to Mexico because with the Mexicas it was a route that they used, very important for them, and then the Spanish decided it would be the first road that they actually built and became one where all the rich people lived, and it's very nice. Today there's a lot of touristy things on it. In 2010 actually they just decided to make it a pedestrian street, which I think is fantastic. And so you get a little bit of the historical buildings, a little bit of the touristy stuff, but usually there's also some interesting things in the side streets. So I want to walk around because the last time I was here, again, that was like 7-8 years ago, so it's probably not going to be the same, but there was this really cool book fair and market. So I think Alan's looking for some patches and other things, so I think that could be a good place to find them, if we can find them. Also, just a quick tip, Calle de la Condesa is a great spot for photos. And they say in 1881, it actually opened up as a jockey club. But today, it's just a really nice spot if you want a photo with a really beautiful background. I still love mine from the last time I was here. We're at a spot called Keguamo, and it is a seafood spot that's really popular with locals, and it's just like a little stand. It's just like a little street stall that you go to, and their stuff is supposed to be so good. First thing, when you arrive, they give you a little bit of what I think is like a seafood consomme, and then they give you a little premium plus cracker with some fish on it. I'm actually going to give that to Alan because he's been eyeing it up and thinks it looks fantastic. And then we got 3 different kinds of tostadas. So they've got tons of things here. They've got tostadas, ceviches, aguachile. They have like, you can get like full-on fish and platters, but we decided let's just get a little bit of a snack. But actually we're taking up this whole table here. So the tostadas, actually, all the prices here are fantastic. The tostadas start at 65. Let's go first with the jaiba, or crab. She also told me this sauce is perfect with the tostadas and to try it with that. And she said it's a little bit spicy, but that's okay. All right, try not to get this all over myself. But when they give you seafood, they give you seafood. Like, this thing is packed. Oh, that crab is good. I really want to try more though of this sauce. Normally, I would test the sauce before I tried it, but she told me it was only a little bit spicy. Oh wow. It really just brings all of the flavors out. This is so good. Jaiba is good, but what about octopus? Octopus is much harder to cook. If you don't cook it high enough, you don't know what you're doing, it gets super, super tough. Normally, I would not order it on the street, but this place has such good recommendations. It's a little bit watery. Let me just show you this. Try this again. It won't focus. Whoa. Wow. The octopus is super tender, not tough at all. Octopus, I don't know how they cook it. Well, It's a ceviche. I know how they cook it. They cook it in lime juice. But you know, you cook it in lime juice, you put it in too early in the day, towards the end of the day, it's going to be tough. 10 out of 10. So good. What I like about this too, they give you the tostada, but they also give you a fork. Because tostadas are messy, guys. Tostadas are messy. If you're going to visit the cathedral, do not miss the bridge over Templo Mayor, or the major temple. This is the Mexica temple, and you can see some details from it. They had always suspected that because it was built over the Mexica ceremonial area, that there were still ruins that existed, and so they've started to dig, and indeed they have found quite a bit. Look at this. I believe there's also a museum that you can visit, closed today, but it takes you through some of the archaeology and just a little bit of the history. But look at how well preserved some of this is. It's incredible. But it's time to go in to see the actual cathedral. Now, a lot of people think that Zocalo actually means center, but that's not it at all, and it has a funny story. I first told it months ago when we arrived in Puebla, and the story is that the Spanish planned to build a monument in the center square, and it had a base, but it never got past that base. No monument was built, and so everyone just called it the Zocalo, or base. Because the center was called Zocalo, in other towns they picked that up as well. And so that's why, especially when you're in central Mexico, you will hear people call it the Zocalo. When you go to the coast a little bit more, you'll find that they just call it like Plaza Principal. But Zocalo doesn't mean anything other than base. And you'll see here, they also don't have a kiosco, but they do have a gigantic flag. Now, the cathedral behind me is quite interesting, and that is because the Spanish throughout New Spain, they would take a spot that was sacred to the indigenous people and build on top of it. And that was similar to what happened here. So what they did was they took Mexica temple stones and they built this cathedral. It took 250 years to build, and as soon as they built it, it almost immediately started to sink. And that is because they drained a lake in order to build Centro Histórico. And so towards the late 1900s, it became a huge problem, and they actually had to close for restoration because it wasn't sinking evenly. It was actually collapsing and tilting. So it's still going to sink, but it will all sink evenly in the future after restoration. So it turns out it is open on Mondays. It is one thing that you can see, and it is free. You can take photos and videos just as long as there's not a mass going on. I'm not a practicing Catholic, but I do find the art, the history, the architecture very interesting, and also the amount of gold in that place. Like, where did it come from? Where was it stolen from, more accurately? Anyway, the sun is going down. It is the end of this video. In the next video, I'm going to be in a new country. I actually have to go to Casa de Cambio, a money exchange place right now to catch up before it closes because I need to get US dollars, but I'm not going to the US. You'll just have to watch the next video to see me in a new country. See you then.